Welcome to Maker Conversations. I'm your host, Tiff Marchand from NIGHTCARVER Designs. And today on the show, I have Dom from M Inspired Living. Dom is an amazing maker, podcaster, and all-around good guy who I was introduced to the Stump Shop, Vic from the Stump Shop, and their podcast For the Gram podcast. And I started listening to them, really enjoyed him, enjoyed his content. And I have been wanting him on the show since my Behind the Maker podcast days. So this has been a long time coming, and I was stoked to have Lesley from Oak and Feather join us because they have the cutest little relationship and they're friends in real life. So I thought it'd be really cool to have that dynamic. I hope you enjoy the show, and a huge shout out to the sponsor, Sabertooth Power Carving, where I get all of my power carving burrs, and as you know, I do their social media. We're having a contest called the Carve With Us contest, which has just started and ends on May 15th. It is not too late to get in the game, so if you want to try your hand at power carving, go check out the contest. The theme is what grows in a garden. It is a spring themed carving contest, and I am making the piranha plant from Mario Kart. So it's going to be a ton of fun. I hope you join us. And if you're looking to get some burrs to join us, you can always use my code NIGHTCARVER10 in all caps to save some money. So check that out, and let's get on with the show. I hope you enjoy. Thank you for coming on the show. Obviously, I have Lesley joining us as co-host today. Because I know you guys have a lot of love for each other, and I didn't realize how far back it was until I just did the stalking, and you guys
I just saw that as I was waiting for you to accept me into the chat. I noticed that you kind of creeped my page.
I wanted to see if you started with the boards or if you were building stuff, and I was surprised that you were building stuff and it wasn't just like from the beginning the boards. But
yeah, the boards was kind of born out of the fact of what can I sell that people will actually buy from me so that I can pay some bills? And that's how the board thing happened.
I mean, it makes sense. I'm always kind of trying, like, you know how if you make something for someone's house, it's going to sell. Like if you make a bowl or a platter or something like that, those are things that people naturally buy. So it's so hard for me not to get into that. And I keep dipping my toes into it lightly, and I'm like, because they sell. I get it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'll be totally honest. I got like really lucky because I got into doing the boards at the very start of when they started to like, everybody all of a sudden knew what a charcuterie board was, right?
Yeah.
And before that, kind of, what's that? So I kind of got in at the right time that I kind of built up a clientele before I got like so completely saturated. Right.
Yeah. And you had your own style too. Like, with the live edges, the thin handles, like you have a look.
Yeah. I
so
tried
Tiff
to, what?
No, go ahead. I was going to ask you a question. You finish and then I'll ask.
No, I was going to say, I tried to make them in my own image, but I'm not quite as thin as I used to be. That's like I made them in my image like when I was 20. Yeah.
No, I was going to ask, because Tiff said she scrolled back and your page started in like mid 2016.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Did you start selling stuff before you started your Instagram page, or did you open Instagram and then start selling? Like, how did that start?
No, I opened Instagram. So here's basically like my origin story.
Ooh,
I was working in a job that I had a really good job, right? And like it paid well and it was secure, but I hated it. It was just the most boring job, and I hated going to work every day, and Sundays were like awful. So like I wanted to find something that I could do and make money and pay my bills on my own and not have to go work for someone. And that's kind of what I did with this. I just took a leap of faith. Like my son was like a year old. My wife was about to go back to work for maternity leave. And it was just in my mind, like, if I don't do this now, I will never do it because I'm going to be too settled in the safety of, having a good job. And, I got to pay for my kid to go to school and then, do piano lessons and whatever else he's going to do as he grows up. So I said, let me try it now. If it works out, fantastic. If it doesn't, in a year from now, I'll go get, another job with another shirt and tie working in another office. And, thankfully, knock on wood, up until now, it's worked out for the most part. But that's kind of how I started. So yeah, I started my Instagram page, I think it was like 2016, like in the summer of 2016, never having sold anything to anybody at that point.
And it was like a reclaimed piece of furniture. So like,
Yeah.
was that your first build ever, or
yeah? Well, what kind of gave me the idea to get into it is,
I'm
so
curious.
we have like a here we call them cottages. I'm not sure what you call them in your
We've got
neck of the woods.
I'm in
Like
Massachusetts, so I'm not that
A
far
lake
away.
house or something.
Okay.
Yeah,
So yeah, like a lake house, a cabin, whatever, right? So we have a cottage, and we were at this, this little market, and my wife sees this sign that says "Life is better at the cottage," and it's like this, little wood sign, but it's very poorly. It's like mass manufactured,
Mm-hmm.
and it was some kind of ridiculous price for a mass produced thing, right? I'm not even going to call it art because it wasn't. And I was like, I could totally make this thing. So that's the first thing I ever made. And it's actually the sign I made is still, I have it in my shop. It was up at the cottage for like years. And then I kind of replaced it. I made a new one once I knew what I was doing a little more. And I couldn't bring myself to throw the other one out. I was going to throw it in the fire and make a video about, tossing it in the fire. But I couldn't. So it's in my shop. Right? It's sitting up on a shelf.
I have the first time that I ever made still hanging in my shop too.
Yeah. I think like, it's a good reminder of where you started.
It is. Absolutely. Yeah. It's got big mistakes on it and stuff. It was like my first practice piece, and I love it. Like it just sits there and it hangs. So
yeah, no, mine is like, I'll be the first person to tell you, it's way uglier and worse than the one that my wife wanted to buy. Way worse. It's horrible. When I made that thing, I had no power tools. I made it with like a handsaw and
oh wow,
like a hammer and like the most basic of tools. I spray painted the letters with a stencil, and it all bled underneath the stencil. And
I can see your Throwback Thursday post for this week already.
I was gonna say,
I think you need to post it again.
I should maybe. I don't know what to post. Maybe I'll put it in a story.
You're like, it's too embarrassing to post it.
Yeah.
I'll show you mine if you show me yours. Mine's really bad.
I think Lesley has seen you've been to the cottage, and that was hanging in there up until like a year ago. So I'm sure you've seen it. Yeah.
It was there for sure. But then you made a fancier one that has like a nice frame.
And plus my wife replaced all the stuff I made with stuff Lesley makes. So like my stuff is no longer. It's true. Like my walls are covered in Lesley's art.
Oh, that's awesome.
Like I said, he just can't get away from me.
And I went and invited her here today.
That's her way of getting invited. She makes something for my place. So then it's like she has to come and drop it off. And and suddenly
just stay a while.
Yeah.
She
drops it off and like brings 4 suitcases along
a few children.
Yeah.
I like it.
I do really, really like her kids and her husband though. So I put up with her because I like the rest of them.
The feeling's mutual. Your wife and your son are just the best.
Yeah, the best. I know.
You, on the other hand,
kind of take it or leave it.
We tolerate each other.
Yeah.
Yes, it looks like it's really been torturous being friends over the years. I loved seeing all the cute little moments that you had throughout your page. Wherever I saw Lesley appear, it was just like, I don't want to like too many of them because I didn't want to give it away right away. I'm like, I was like, just one of them I'll like.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I kind of like when you told me, there's going to be like a special guest, and I'm like, okay, like based on the people that
we know,
like I'm kind of known to kind of like people that will tolerate me. I'm guessing it's probably one of two people. So
It could have been BA. Like I could have really thrown a loop in there.
Yeah, you
Someone
could
you wouldn't
have,
have
yeah.
see?
Yeah. Yeah.
He was
that's
messaging
true.
me earlier to ask you a few questions.
Yeah, that's true.
Ooh.
I like him. I always call him BA Baracus.
You do. I've heard it in the
it.
podcast.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
where
Victor
I met some
had-
friends.
Vic had
What does
no
that
clue
mean?
what I was. You don't know who BA Baracus is?
No.
It's Mr. T. You know the A-Team?
I had no clue that was his
Don't tell me
name.
you don't know who Mr. T
But
is.
you should know who Mr. T is, Leslie.
Is he does he have like the hair
The
that
pity's
goes
a
like this
fool.
and then the
Yeah,
big
and
earrings?
like all the gold
Okay.
chains. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I
And
know
that
who
was
it
his
is.
character on like his TV show, the A-Team.
Listen,
Did BA know what that was?
Yes, he did. He did know what that was, thankfully. Yeah. Look, I'm old, okay? Like those were the
I wasn't
shows
gonna
from my
say it.
childhood.
I wasn't
Yeah.
gonna say it, but
but like, how
You're
old is
old.
old Dom?
Age is just a number.
Yeah, I'm
If you
41.
ask my wife, she'll tell. If you ask my wife, she'll tell you like I'm like the maturity level of a 9-year-old. Leslie will
that's why
probably tell you that too.
I would say that's why we like you, though. We're all little kids here. Like if you've
That's
seen
right.
any of us, we all act like we're infants.
That's right. That's why Leslie's daughters get along so well with me, because I'm
Same
kind of at
age.
their level.
Yeah.
I
Literally
actually
the
taught
same age.
Leslie will tell you this. I taught them "We Will Rock You," and they sing it regularly.
In the car.
It's true.
wee-
yeah, no, Dom taught my kids that when you're waiting for dinner and you're really hungry and it's taking too long, you bang on the counter like the and now my kids do that when they're waiting for dinner. And I always videotape it. I'm like, thanks, buddy. This is great.
That's okay. My kids will not stop watching Pokemon on YouTube, playing the games,
Oh,
or getting cards. And it's all because of another maker that we met for like lunch, and his wife bought cards for my kids and introduced them to him. So
yeah,
thank you, Regal Street. Thank you, Lee and Danielle,
that's
for that
Poke-
one.
I feel your Pokemon pain, because my
Mm.
son is like everything Pokemon. He's got like binders full of these cards. And when he first got into it, one day he asked me, because he got like a couple of the little, Pikachu and a couple of the little characters. He's like, "Dad, do you think I could get every character?" Well, I don't know, maybe. Like, let's see how many there are. And then I Googled it, and there's like 4,000 characters. Yeah, no, you're definitely not getting every character.
Mm. Oh no!
Didn't
my
you
kids
make a cool-
classify 'em.
Yeah.
Oh, did he make something for it?
Yeah, you made like a cool Pokemon like
Yeah, I made him
display
like a
case, didn't
little
you?
display case. Yeah, because he got like a Pokemon advent calendar. So like instead of chocolates behind every door for Christmas, there was a different Pokemon figurine.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Right? Yeah, actually, you know what? I have to admit, it was pretty cool, because they were like well made. They weren't cheap little things. They were like really nice, well made little figurines. So I made him a little shelf with like closing glass doors that he could put them all in. Yeah.
I'm gonna
Did
have to
anybody try to
scroll.
buy that? Because I feel like that was like a thing people would want.
Yeah, you know what's funny? I did like the whole video for that, and I posted it thinking that was going to do really good, right? Because Pokemon, it's
Yeah,
so many
it's
people
huge.
love Pokemon. Tanked, did like terrible.
No,
Yeah, and I
I find that
even
really
used
surprising.
Yeah.
I even used the Pokemon theme song for like the audio, and it was even trending at the time, believe it or not.
Never a guarantee, man. Sometimes my
Why
Ninja
would the
Turtle videos
Pokemon
fly,
yeah.
and others is like,
Yeah, it's so weird. Like I thought I had the highest hopes for it, and it just like tanked. Nobody saw it.
Those are always the ones that tank, though. The ones where you're like, I'm gonna sell like 100 of these things. This
Yeah.
is trending. It's gonna do
Huge.
so good. And then it's like, no, nobody cares.
Yeah,
Dang it.
totally.
it's true.
And then the ones that you just like kind of throw on there one day because you have nothing else to post, those are the ones that 8 million people see, and you're not even like proud of it.
Well, my best video recently, Dom and I just did a video where I pretend to steal his track saw.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like my best video in the last like month.
That's my
Great.
best video, I think, since like 1987. I've been in such a bad slump. That video is like the only thing propping up my page right now.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
I
So I have
know.
to
So
give
how does
credit
it
to
work with
Lesley for that.
your how does it work with your sales, Dom? Like, do you make most of your sales from Instagram, or like you said, you have good clients? Is
Yeah,
that from
it's
like longevity? Like those are long-term clients? Like how does your
yeah.
business
Yeah,
sell?
like I have a lot of repeat, like with the boards. Like I would say in the last year or so, I've kind of tried to get away
Weed those
from the
out. I
boards because
noticed that.
I don't want to just be like the guy that makes boards, because there's only so much you could do with that, and plus it gets boring. So I still do a bunch of them because I've got a lot of, restaurants and that sort of stuff that they buy on a regular basis from me. But I just don't post about it anymore because I don't
Mm-hmm.
want to be that guy. But
Understand.
yeah, but I do. I have a lot of like repeat clients, and I have a lot of the stuff I get is referral. I've found, especially with that like restaurant sort of hospitality industry, everybody knows everybody.
Mm-hmm.
They've all it's kind of like the maker world, right? That
Yeah.
we're in, and everybody kind of knows sort of the same thing there. They've all worked together over the years, and one thing, and I've gotten so many jobs from, someone that says, hey, I worked with so and so at this restaurant, and now I'm working at this place, I need some boards. So I get a lot of work like that.
That's great though. Like I understand not wanting to advertise that a lot because you don't want to get
Yeah.
stuck in it, but just to have that coming in on the side, that's beautiful.
Yeah. Well, you know what? The thing is, and I've talked about this even with Vic recently, that like as you start to get more into the content creation and you start doing more with that and making a decent living doing that,
Mm-hmm.
it's one of those things that you never know when that gravy train's gonna
Yeah.
reach its station.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to kind of still have something else that's going to keep you going if that suddenly, disappears on you.
I mean, I'm sure you guys talked about it, but like I'm going to say it wrong now. Monetization from Facebook and Instagram, with that being cut off now, that's income that people had coming in. Now, it may not
Yeah.
have been a lot, but like you
Yeah.
said, you can't just not have things that are going to back up your business if something else fails or goes away like that. Like it may
That's
have
right.
been $300 that somebody was counting on because they got used to it or
Yeah.
whatever it
Oh,
may have been,
definitely.
you know?
Yeah. And then once you do get used to it, it's hard not to have it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Right. So yeah, that's one thing I always say. And, I have a lot of people too that reach out to me through messages saying, hey, what can I do to do what you do? And, how can I grow or I hate my job and I want to like quit my job. And you got to kind of like not put all your eggs in one basket.
Yeah.
Right. And it's the same thing with social media. That's kind of one of my regrets is I pushed really hard on Instagram and, I did well with it, but all my other socials are like, I'm just starting to try and build them now.
Yeah. I get
because
that.
if Instagram disappears one day, I'm just, who am I? I'm some guy with 800 followers on Facebook.
But you're pretty big on TikTok, aren't you? You have a decent size account there.
Yeah, it's decent, but I mean, it's decent.
Not as big as Instagram, I guess.
Yeah,
Do you
no,
guys
not
find
as
that
big
you
as
don't have a
Instagram.
community on TikTok, or you feel like you have a community there? Because I
Totally
don't.
no community whatsoever.
Okay, me either.
Yeah.
My account's
I have
the same
like
size there, but it's a completely different experience.
Mhm.
Yeah. I have a different type of community, I feel like, on TikTok. Like there's some people that I see all of the time in my comments, like, but like a handful. So I would probably say like my community there is like maybe 20 people that I know, like on the internet, because I recognize their handles or whatever. Whereas like Instagram is like, you literally know like hundreds of people from Instagram.
Yeah.
So it's definitely smaller, which is different, but
yeah, I find it a totally different experience. And for me, that makes it harder to really commit to it more.
Right?
Because, yeah, it's tough. Like, I'll be honest, a lot of the times I'll post something there and I won't even go back to check if there's any comments or reply to the comments. Whereas Instagram, religiously, I will reply to every comment that I get. Right. Because it just seems, I don't know, TikTok, you get such random comments, and 75% of the comments I get are people either saying that they love the music that I'm using or they hate the music that I'm using. Because
ooh, controversial.
like I'll use typically, 80s rock music is typically
Yeah.
what I'll use, right? So I'll get the
Because
odd person.
the young crowd uses TikTok, Dom. It's for young people.
No, but there's a lot of old folks on there now, like me, who they're like, oh yes, finally a TikTok video that's using good music and not. Right? So
my posts don't go anywhere if I put music that I actually like on it. Like unless it's like the R&B side of me, that's fine. But like if I put the rock side of me in it, it's like.
But see, I refuse to give in and bend to like Instagram and TikTok's will. I can't.
I get it.
I feel like I'm going against my own, character by posting some song that I would never actually listen to.
I love that.
So I continue to post, 80s rock, and I continue to do terrible on my
you haven't
posts.
done terrible. You're pretty big.
I was gonna say,
Wow.
your account's not small. In any means.
It's not, but no, I honestly, the last couple months have been like a real difficult time. It's been slow, and I know I'm not the only one.
I say, it's everybody. It's everywhere.
Like Vic and I have talked about this many times on our own podcast, that everybody's feeling that right now, but
it's not,
and it makes you wonder.
It doesn't help you like when you're watching it every day happening to you. Like you still feel it, even though it's happening to everybody. It's still like,
Are you guys gonna pay to be verified when it comes to your area?
I think if once it shows up here, I think you're gonna have to eventually, and I think you might as well do it from the get-go, because I think you're gonna see the most benefit from it the earlier.
Canada just
get
seems
involved.
to never get anything though, so I'm like, is it even gonna come to Canada?
I'm sure
are we gonna
even you're gonna want your money.
You
know
guys
what I mean?
Down in the US are all like up in arms over losing Reels bonuses. We never had them.
Oh,
you
never had it? Oh, okay. So that's why it didn't hit home for you guys. Like when I was saying that.
No, I was gonna say when you were mentioning it, we've never been monetized, even TikTok, like TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, nothing. The only thing that we can also monetize is YouTube.
Okay.
Facebook. We can monetize Facebook.
Oh, can we? I didn't even know that.
Yeah, you can monetize Facebook. You have to have, it's sort of similar to YouTube. You have to have so many followers
But can you still do that with the changes they made in the States, or?
I believe, yes. I believe Facebook's totally separate, because you can the monetization on Facebook is like YouTube. It's ad revenue.
Okay.
Like Facebook's not really giving you any of their own money. It's ad revenue that they're sharing with you.
Hey, still, I'd go for it, Lesley, if you're not already.
Yeah.
Why not?
Are you monetized on Facebook?
No, because I don't have, I'm telling, like Facebook, I never
did
never
have
anything
like
with it.
automatic share or anything set up?
I do the automatic share thing, but I just never I never gone in there to.
I don't
check
either.
if there's any
Mine's probably lower
and-
than yours. I never go on it. It's like 800 maybe.
Yeah, that's I think where I'm at, and I think, don't quote me on it, but I think you need to have 1,000 followers, and I'm not sure how many like hours of
view
interaction
time. So
to be.
It is very much like YouTube.
It's very much. The only reason I know this is Jeff Mack told me, because he's monetized on Facebook and he does though. That's the only. Otherwise, I had no idea you could do that.
No, it makes sense.
So Lesley, you should do it.
I'm gonna do it.
If you do it, I want 10% of your first 6 months pay, because I told you about it.
It's true, you did.
That, or you have to eat a dozen crullers. You can choose.
I'll do a dozen crullers over a shot of grappa.
Well, that wasn't one of the options. It was 10% for 6 months or a dozen crullers.
I'll eat a dozen crullers.
All right.
I'll do it. Tiff, were you here when Dom made me eat the broccoli ice cream?
No.
So it's funny because Canada is so small. Dom and I just have known each other from the beginning. And I can't remember, what was it, Dom? It was like, it was if you could get Rust-Oleum to follow me.
That's right.
Because Dom works, you can see behind him.
Yes.
That's why I go shopping at his house, because him and Rust-Oleum are best buddies. And then
I do
so
see the very
Rust-Oleum
well-stocked cabinet with like rows of cans going deep.
You can.
I need all of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, he said he would get Rust-Oleum to follow me. And if he did, I had to eat broccoli ice cream because there's a place near his cottage where they'll put anything in ice cream, like mix it up.
Got you.
And for some reason,
I feel
they
like
had
I was
broccoli.
following you guys at this moment, actually. Now
Yeah, and we went live before going live was like a thing, and he made me eat broccoli ice cream. It was awful.
I can only imagine it would be.
Good old days.
You should do it again.
No, I'm not doing that ever again.
But it's under new ownership, that place. So maybe it's different now.
If you can get Rust-Oleum to also sponsor me, I will eat broccoli ice cream. That's never going to happen. I mean, he's going to be like, I'm not recommending this crazy person.
You'd have to eat like a 5 tubs of broccoli ice cream smothered in ketchup.
Ooh.
Ew.
What would you do?
Wrong. Maybe not 5 buckets, because I'd probably barf.
Yeah.
Maybe 1 bucket.
She's like, I could take 1 down.
I don't know about that. Well, I gotta admit, back then you were a little bit more willing to pay up on your bets, because we also had a bet where you had to eat a pizza that you never followed through on.
Yeah. Have you seen those, Tiff? Do you have those where it's like a vending machine in the middle of nowhere and you can buy pizza out of it?
Sure don't.
It's not a vending machine. It's a shipping container. It's a half shipping container that's been retrofitted into basically a pizza oven. You put the money in, you punch in on the screen what you want, and it spits out a pizza.
I mean, we have Domino's and Pizza Hut, so it's essentially the same.
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't know. It's just questionable. Like, how is it stored in that shipping container? I imagine they're frozen, but how long have they been there?
No, but my thing is more not even how, if they're frozen, fine, but how many spiders and stuff are crawling on that stuff inside there?
So you can see why I didn't follow through on losing that bet.
I mean, it's cooked.
It is. At the end of the day, if you eat a spider, it's not going to kill you, but...
You probably had one last night you just don't know about.
Yeah, very possible.
Let's be real. That's funny. So, I mean, only 1 bet she hasn't paid up. I'm sure there's been a lot of bets over the years.
Well, our relationship is mostly based on making each other miserable. That's the crux of our relationship.
It is. It's like a love-hate relationship, you know?
I get it.
But no, we actually do have a lot of fun. So Dom has been generous enough to invite my family to his cottage every summer for what? How many years going now?
3 years maybe, or 4?
I think
3 or 4.
My oldest was 2. She was still in diapers. That's 5 years.
Really?
She's
it's
7
been
now.
that long?
I like how he's 3, maybe.
It's ew, I've been putting up with you for that long.
Wow.
My youngest is 4. We started coming before she was born.
Yeah, that's true, because when you ate the broccoli ice cream, you were pregnant.
Yeah, I was pregnant.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
You kept it down. That's really impressive.
Yep.
You don't know.
It's been a long time.
She worked there.
So you're reaching basically the end of the line. You only get invited for 5 years, and then I move on to the next maker.
Oh. She's like, you're never leaving.
Who's it going to be? BA?
I can tell you who it's going to be. I'm inviting only your husband and your kids. You can't come.
Okay, fair enough.
I mean, that's a vacation.
I'll just go visit Tiff that weekend.
Come on down. We'll get you carving in the garage. We'll have a great time.
No. So Dom, but what's actually next? Not your next maker friend, but what are you what's your next goal? What do you want to make next? Or who's the company you're after?
Oh man. I want to wrestle a match in the WWE.
Oh, yeah.
Seems realistic.
No, definitely not.
80s colored spandex, imagining the whole theme.
The Dominator.
Ooh.
I would basically last one match. I'd go to the hospital, and that would be the end of my wrestling
My
career.
back.
Yeah. I don't know what. I don't look that far ahead. Like, to be honest with you, I'm very. I think I'm easily contented with things as long as things are going well, and I can pay my bills and feed my family, and take my kid for ice cream and stuff like that. Like, I don't have grand. I don't want to be the next billionaire or anything like that. I just kind of want to do well enough to spend time with my family and enjoy it. Right. That
That's
was
awesome.
that was my big thing for doing this in the first place. Was I didn't like the idea of, like I said, my son was just born. My wife was going back to work for maternity leave, and I didn't like the idea of this kid's going to go to school and he's going to have school plays and Christmas concerts and all this stuff, and I'm going to have to go ask somebody, can I please take an extra half hour at lunch today so I can go see my kid sing a song? I hated that idea. And in my mind, it was just, I'd rather, if I have to, make a little bit less money as long as I can still, support my family, but have the freedom to do those kind of things.
That's awesome. I mean,
yeah,
you can't ask for more, right? You're not miserable during the day. You're making things that you want to make, and you're having fun with this community, and then you get to go do all the things that you want to do. Like, that's great. That was super brave, by the way. Like, that's a hard choice to make.
It was 50% brave, 50% dumb. And luckily for me, the 50% brave side worked out. But, it's one of those things that I like anybody. I still have bad days. You have days where you're working on a project that things aren't going right. And, you kind of second, why am I doing this? But then you look at it and you say, my worst day ever doing this is still way better than my best day ever, working where I was in an office and, not enjoying it.
Yeah. And I mean, having a young kid too, we all know that it's constant interruptions. Like, you don't know what your day is going to be. And I made it through work until my kids were 6. Like, I don't know how I did it, but I held a job, did making at night, and then took care of them. Now that I don't have the day job, the day job, I don't know how I was doing it. Like, literally they're home every day sick, or there's an appointment here, or we have to go see a specialist for this. This is nightmarish.
You know what? You find a way because you have to, but
yes,
it's incredibly stressful.
Yes.
Yeah. Like having that ability that, if my son's sick one day, okay, I lose a day's work, but it's not the end of the world.
It's stressful, but it's nothing.
It is definitely, but it's nothing compared to, having that other job where you're answering to someone else. And, very few people are in that lucky position where they have the world's greatest boss.
Right.
Right. So, I mean, having that flexibility to say, okay, you know what, you're not feeling well. Let's watch some TV today, stay home. If he's got to go to the doctors, because my wife, unfortunately for her, she does have the 9 to 5 job, right? So she's out, early in the morning and she's back at 5 o'clock. So, I have that flexibility that, what, you're not feeling good. Let's go to the doctor. Or, stay home. I'll make you some chicken soup or whatever. Right. And then when he's feeling better, then I, do double time to make up for that day. But it's my choice. It's not somebody else's choice.
Yep. My husband will tag in with me. So when he gets home from work and he knows I had a really non-productive work day, I'll go to work when he gets home. You're able to do that if you can, so that's nice. That's cool.
Yeah.
I'm glad it's working out for you.
Yeah. No complaints. I can't complain.
That's exciting.
The one of the best things is I've made a lot of really good friends. I mean, with Vic and Mark, and as much as Lesley and I give each other a hard time, Lesley's one of my best friends. Right. And it's a funny thing that the internet is, you hear bad things about the internet, but a lot of my best friends today are people I've met through doing this.
You just call me your best friend.
Yeah. Don't,
that's recorded, right?
It's recorded.
I said I said one of. I didn't say
I
my-
heard Leslie's my best friend.
No.
He saved you for last, and don't they
I love
save
you
the
too,
best for
Dom.
last?
Exactly, right?
Mark is your husband is actually my very best friend.
That's really sweet,
It's
though.
They do get along really well.
Nothing beats though when your significant other gets along with your friend. Like it's just so nice.
Yeah, it's funny because it started off with Dom and I being good friends, and like we'd hang out and go to like dinners with makers in our area and whatever. And then when our family started hanging out, my oldest is the same, well, a year younger than Dom's son, and she is gonna marry him. That's what she tells me all the time. So we're gonna be in-laws one day. But then yeah, I'm super good friends with Dom's wife, Nadia. We go to like Wonderland together all the time, go on roller coasters. Wonderland's like the theme park
I
in
figured.
Toronto.
I
There's
like
only
it.
one. Yeah. And then yeah, Dom steals my husband for weekends to help him build stuff. And my husband takes my tools, but he gets to go help Dom.
It's worked out. It's worked out very well.
worked out
I
great.
can't complain about the situation. Yeah, no, it's, you know what, to be serious, the really great thing is our kids get along so well,
That's
Mhm.
nice.
and that's super important, right? Like at the
Yeah.
end of the day, I think when you have kids, I feel like your life changes. You start to make friends
Oh, it does.
based on who your kids get along with, not so much on who you get along with. Right.
Mhm.
And then it's a bonus if you also get along with the parents of, you know, the kids that your kid gets along with.
I literally high-fived my kids Chase the other day because we had a birthday party and they got to invite like 2 kids from school. And like they both invited like actual cool parents. I was like,
Yeah.
did a good job. Like I actually had fun hanging out with these people. Like,
Yeah.
good job, boys. It's
I
true.
love that.
Though.
It's crazy though, because when Dom and I started, you started just before I did, like maybe 6 or 7 months before I did. When we look at, like, I don't know if you and Vic have talked about this at all, but we had a much larger group when we started hanging out as
Yeah.
like a maker group where we live.
Mhm.
And now it's like me, you, and Vic are really the last 3
Yeah.
still doing it like 6 years
Yeah.
down the road,
Yeah.
which is kind of crazy.
A lot
Yeah,
of people
for
have
sure.
come
Yeah,
in
that
and
was
out.
a group of those first few meetups. There was what, like 7 or 8 people, I think, in total.
Yeah. Yeah. And we were
And-
all making, and yeah, life changes for so many. And like,
it does.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I mean,
Yeah.
it depends. And you know what, at that point, most people, it's kind of like a hobby or a side hustle, and life changes, and you know, that becomes less important. I mean, the number of people that actually turn content creation into something that they're doing full time, it's, yeah, I think a lot of people kind of go by the wayside.
Mhm. It's a lot of
Yeah.
work. I think that's the thing
Yeah.
is people don't realize how much work goes into everything that we do every day. Like
Yeah. Like it's not as easy as people make it look.
you just
Yeah.
play on your
Oh,
phone.
I mean, I definitely work way more hours than I ever did when I was working for someone
Mhm.
else. Right?
Yeah.
Definitely by far, but it doesn't feel like work. I mean, how can I call, you know, like I did this, you know, this reel with Lesley a few weeks ago about her stealing my track saw. Technically that's work, but I mean,
It is.
how can I
It's the
call that
best.
work? Right? Or, you know, Vic and I and Mark, we get together and we build something once a year for Rust-Oleum. It's work. I mean, we're contracted to do this project for them every year, but it's the 3 of us getting together for a couple of days and, you know, goofing around and building something during that time. But how can you consider that work?
It's the
That's
best.
true.
I literally
Right?
had to go to
Yeah.
my husband. I have to go work. I gotta work. I come down here and I'm painting a brain and making it a
Yeah.
rainbow. I'm like, this is my work right now.
Yeah.
Or I'll
Yeah.
go out and I'm power carving something. I'm like, gotta make a video. Like it's amazing. Like I've never been happier when it comes to my work life. I
Yeah.
completely agree with you. Like I finally now, yes, I am doing stuff I love as work, and it does sometimes you're not in the mood to do it, but otherwise it's been an amazing experience. Like, and it's nice hearing that you've been doing this for so long too, and
Mhm.
have been carrying it out and supporting your family with it.
Yeah. And you know, I think that that's the difference. You said it right there, that sometimes you don't feel like doing it. And it's like anything. Work is where, as much as you love it, there's still times where it feels like work.
Yep.
And I think that that's the difference between people that are able to do it long term and people that at some point kind of fall away because either they didn't expect that it was sometimes going to really feel like real work, or they didn't want to put in that work. But yeah, there's times where you got to push through and remember that hey, you know what? If you want to do this, it's not always easy.
Right.
Right.
You're not always painting a brain. You know what I mean? Like,
that's right.
I spent my morning emails. Like, I know, like, when Lesley starts hitting her emails, that's something that she's talking about. Like, okay, I've got to get in there. It's been a while. I need to just face it. Like, that is legit work. And you have to put those hours in too to get to the fun part.
That's right.
Well, and that's Dom. I don't know if you have the same thing, but like, does admin work take up a lot of your time too? Like, do you have to reply to lots of emails? I imagine because you have more content creation, you're like reviewing contracts and doing that type of stuff.
Here's the thing. I'm very OCD about things. So like if I have emails, I don't want to see on my phone, a little notification on my email thing that says I have 102 unanswered, and no chance. That would destroy me. So as I get something, if it's something I can deal with right away, and a lot of the times it's like simple answers, I do my best to just deal with it immediately. Right. So I try not to let admin work build up, even, something as simple as, keeping my receipts for taxes at the end of the year. As I get if I go out today and I buy whatever, a can of paint that I need to use for a project, I come home and I log that receipt in my spreadsheet. I don't like stack them up and say I'll do them at the end of the month or so. And that's good and it's bad because I feel like sometimes I'm wasting time doing things that I could be, spending that time doing something else, right? Like I'll give you an example.
I'm stopping.
Like I'm working on a project in the shop and, I'll use the planer. So I'll plane a few pieces of wood, stop, I'll get the dust collector out, clean it all up, put it away, get the next thing out. Now I'm using the router. I'll stop like every 3 or 4 passes to, clean up all the sawdust, as opposed to just waiting to the end and cleaning it all up at once. Right. So.
I mean, you have to do though what's going to make you comfortable in your shop. If you're uncomfortable having I'm so bad. I can have a layer of shit on the floor and I'll get through it. But
see, like I went to Leslie's. What is this? A couple years ago when I came to your place to work on something with you, and she like spent a day cleaning up before I came because she was worried that I was gonna walk in and walk back out.
Well, because like, see the clamps behind me? I guarantee you Dom's looking at them like, straighten them. Why can't you just straighten them, Lesley? Like, look at the labels behind him. He's just so meticulous. One time when I was over at his house, he had like all of his batteries lined up, like perfectly in line by size of battery. And I just was like, I'm just going to poke it out of line just to see what he does. And he was like, don't you dare touch them.
That's awesome. I wasn't noticing your clamps till now. You really got to fix those.
I know. You want to know what? My shop is so small. I was using my miter saw today. So when I pulled it out, I like turned it to do a 45-degree cut and it just knocked them all off. And so I just like threw them all back on the wall because I was so mad.
Oh my God. I was really just messing with you, but now you're like, man, I really got to fix my clamps. Listen, I've got paint everywhere. No labels are turned properly. It's a mess back there, but that's okay. I did a lot of stuff. I'm happy.
No, it's funny to see how everybody has like different setups and different ways that they work. And it's pretty cool. I like going to Dom's shop because it's so clean. And I'm like, one day my shop will never be that clean.
Do you have 2 different sections, Dom? Like, do you have like a workshop and then are you in like a finishing shop, or is this actually in your shop too? Like,
no. So this is basically my basement.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is so like I've got the laser behind me, or I'll do, if it's something smaller that I can get down here, I'll do the finishing here. Otherwise it'll be outside, right? I'll just, not do any dusty work while the finishing is going on. But yeah, I've kind of taken over a lot of spots around the house that have become work related.
I occupy like half our basement and the garage. So same. Like I wish I could have a spot where I don't have to be completely across from it. Like it's quite a little journey going up and down the stairs to get over there. But for now, it totally works.
Yeah. Yeah. You got to make do with, you know, you got to make it work from what you have.
Exactly. Like Lesley, you're in the basement, right?
Yeah, I work out of my basement, and then we have a basement bathroom that is my like drying room. So I do most of my painting outside, and then I run it into the bathroom that vents directly outside, and I just leave it in there. So nobody's allowed to use that bathroom. Yeah, it's bad. When you come, and we also have a pool table that I just put a huge sheet of plywood over. And then all of my projects that I don't want to get dusty or whatever, I'm assembling them. Those all go on the pool table. So my husband's really very understanding.
That basement. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's mine.
But that's what happens. I mean, you got to make. You have to make it work.
Yeah, exactly. If we didn't have like a giant couch in that other side of the basement, you know, I would have crept over there already. But it's very nice. My husband I made space for him. Like that was one of the things, like as I was taking up space, he's like, you need to build me a nook though. Like I need a space. So he has a very nice office right next door to mine. So he has some space too. Cause I couldn't, you know, we take up everything when you're a maker, you need it.
Yeah.
So he has his happy place. This is like,
so I want to hear,
doesn't matter. No space.
I want to hear the questions from BA. You said BA sent you questions?
Well, he just kind of wanted to know about the 80s music, which we've already kind of covered, about Dom being old, which he didn't give his age, so it's still a mystery.
How old are you actually? Dom's actually not old. We just joke.
That's what I mean. How old I am. Well, I am. I'm like, I would say I'm older. I mean,
45?
Oh, yeah, good guess.
Yeah, hey, 45. I say I'm 41.
You are 45 already?
Yeah, I'll be 46 this year. Wait.
Really?
Yeah, 46. I'll be 46 this year.
See, it's actually not that old. I just like to pretend that you're old because you do so many old man things.
The affliction for the 80s music, you would think he's like 55 because that's not something that usually will stay with somebody like.
Yeah. You know, I would. By age, I should be more of a 90s, right? Like I was in high school in the 90s. Right? Yeah. Like I graduated high school in 95. But I think I had some older cousins that were a big influence on me, right? Yep. They were like 3-4 years older than me. And I think that's kind of where the 80s thing came from because I just, you know, listened to what they were listening to.
I was going to ask if you had older siblings. So that makes total sense, though.
Yeah.
Because I listened to some really, like, you know, at the time, controversial, like, R&B songs in my youth. And that's because of my older sister, you know?
Yeah.
Get you singing things that you shouldn't be singing at that age.
It's hilarious because if you go to my Bluetooth on my phone, I actually have Dom's Bluetooth speaker saved in my settings so that when we go to his cottage and he has music playing, I hack into it and change off his 80s rock and put on my music.
Joke's on you. I bought a new one.
Did you? I'll hack into it. I'll have to forget. It was like Wonder Boom, something was yours.
Yeah, that's illegal.
How? Look, can you see? At the bottom, it says Wonder Boom 2.
You know what's funny is
the Bluetooth speaker.
What's funny is my son, I don't know where we were going. This is like after Lesley and her family had come to the cottage this past summer and they were there for a few days. And I don't know where we were going. And we were listening to some random radio station and a Taylor Swift song came on. And my son is like, because he's all so much in the car with me, he knows a lot of the songs I listen to.
Mm-hmm.
Right? he's the only kid, in class. The teacher will say, what's your favorite song? And my son will say like some Billy Joel song or something is his favorite song. And the teacher will laugh and none of the other kids will have any idea what he's talking about. But so we're in the car driving and a Taylor Swift song comes on and he's like, I know this song. How do you know this song? I heard it in Taylor and Willow's car in their car when we went for ice cream. So he heard it in Leslie's because he went with them for the drive.
See, I'm going to turn him into a Swiftie before you know it.
Yeah. I guess it's only fair. I taught your kids We Will Rock You. So
exactly. What's fair is fair.
Yeah.
That's great. I love that. And the battle continues. Dom, like, just before we let you go, what made you guys want to start a podcast and even like talk about that subject? Because that's something that takes a lot of guts to talk about and to put yourself out there like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. You know what? It's funny the way it came about. We had gone to our first workbench. It was in 2019. Me, Vic, and Mark. We drove down. It was all, I don't know if you know the story. Like we went down. It was called the Rust-Oleum Road Trip.
I remember. I was super
right?
jealous.
You remember it? Okay, so
yeah.
So part of the whole thing was we drove down and we stopped at several people's shops on the way, and there was just on that drive there and back a lot of time to talk because it's a long drive from Toronto to Atlanta. And back the other way. So we had a lot of time, sitting in a car talking. And we just kind of came up with this idea that, hey, you know what? We love talking to each other. We do it all the time. Like we have a group chat and we have an Instagram chat and then we FaceTime. Why don't we just do this and record it and make it into a podcast? Because people would probably be interested in these things that we're talking about. And that's kind of how it came about because I mean, if it wasn't for the fact that we enjoy talking with each other and we have fun doing it, I'm sure like as well as anybody else, very difficult to make any significant like income from a podcast.
Oh yeah, I don't get money for
like
this.
unless you're Joe Rogan or someone that it's very tough doing a podcast. You really have to enjoy it. You're not doing it because you want to get rich. So, I mean, that's kind of the way it started. And we just, Mark recently kind of had to step away because he just had so much on his plate that he had to choose something to kind of say, I got to step back from this. But Vic and I, we still love to do it. We like to talk to each other. We have fun. We get along well. So that's really all that's behind it, right?
I love doing this. Like I have a blast podcasting. It's an excuse to hang out with people, right?
Yeah.
Like it's set times. It's like, okay, no, I'm podcasting. That's my night. Like, like I'll be doing something that night and having a blast, getting to know people. So
yeah,
I understand the passion for it. Plus you guys have such an interactive group of people that follow you and, listen to the show too. That's got to be like a nice added thing to it.
Yeah. It's nice to have like a core group of, listeners that listen always. And I'll get sometimes a lot of really obscure comments on some of my posts that have to do with the podcast. And they make me chuckle because it's like, oh yeah, this person obviously listened to the podcast and they picked up on that, little joke. And
that's cool.
Yeah. And we had Lesley on too. So that episode was okay, I guess.
It was decent, I guess. I'd maybe do it again if you paid me next time.
If we paid you.
Apparently she needs a cut for her time.
Aren't you coming to my cottage for like 3 weeks this year or something?
Yes. I'm scheduling it right now with your wife.
Like the whole month of August or something like that?
See you then.
It's going to be a lot of bocce games.
She's going to do a lot of like pre-cutting of stuff so she can just sit there and stand while she hangs out with everybody.
Yeah, that'd be sweet.
Right?
Just bring my scroll saw to the cottage.
You could.
It's portable. That is like the nice thing about that.
I was going to say, look, can you see the box behind me? See that big black box?
Yeah.
Will
I
your
could fit
scroll
so
saw
many tools
fit
in
in
there.
there? You
Yeah.
can't fit your scroll saw in there.
I can.
Without the
It does. It
stand.
would fit in there.
Yeah. Not the stand, like
Wow.
off the stand.
No, not
Yeah.
the stand.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
just the saw itself.
Yeah, it'll fit.
Load her up.
Cool.
So I got it so that I can, if I have to go do shows and stuff, I can load it and then
yeah,
it's on wheels. Yeah.
that's smart.
Look at
Yeah.
her.
So
If I have
when
to
I
do
come to your
shows.
cottage, I'll just
Come in, just like wheel it out. What's
Yeah.
up, guys? Be here for a
Hi,
while.
everyone.
Just like put an umbrella next to it. Just hang out
Yeah.
outside.
Hack into my speakers.
Yeah. That's how I roll.
I think we're making your next collab reel right now. We're running up.
What's
Well-
actually funny though is whenever Dom and I actually hang out, like in real life, we usually never record anything. Like the reel we made, we actually didn't record it together. We recorded it in our
Yeah.
own shops and then pieced it together. But then when we actually hang out at your cottage, we will like on the last day be like, should we take a photo together or
Yeah.
something? Or,
Yeah,
like,
it's true.
we're
That's
often,
very
like,
true.
we don't care at all about.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not like, oh, let's make content. We're just like, let's hang out.
Yeah.
I'm the same way whenever I see people or like go to a maker event and stuff. It's really hard to pull my phone out. And like I have to at Workbench. Like that's my reason for being there. And it's still
Yeah.
a challenge sometimes because you just that one-on-one interaction of finally hanging out with people that you love. Like
Yeah.
it's too magical and you're
You-
in it and you're enjoying it.
Yeah. Yeah. You want to be in the moment. It's
Mhm.
tough. It's like, going to a concert nowadays and everybody's recording the whole thing with their phone as opposed to, enjoying the concert.
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah,
It's sort of the same thing.
totally.
So rather than making content, I'm enjoying Leslie's company.
What do you want? You're being so nice.
I know,
Do you
I
want
am
that
being- I'm
carrying
being-
case?
Wait, you know what? I've been up late the last couple nights, so I'm really not myself.
I know I laughed because when we were booking this, like I had told her that you prefer, daytime if she can make that happen. I didn't know if she could. And she's like, he can stay up. And then you were like, how about 8:30? And I'm like, and I texted her, I'm like, he's getting wild. He wants 8:30.
Well,
Yeah.
Dom knows why I can't do daytime because I have my youngest
kids.
at home
So
with
yeah,
me. So
totally.
yeah.
Yeah. That's the only reason I asked for 8:30 is it's pretty much, it's my
It's
son's
bedtime.
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 So he goes
Mhm.
to bed and then I don't, because he's now, it's funny. He's incredibly into wrestling all of a sudden. Like I was joking about wrestling before and like I haven't watched wrestling, I think, since I was 15 years old, but he's so incredible. I had to order the WWE channel so he could watch WrestleMania this weekend.
That's so
Yeah.
funny.
I'm
Yeah.
trying to keep that out of my kids' like sight, but their cousin loves doing like the intro dances. So he plays
yeah.
all the theme music and does these dances, and now my kids are just learning it from that. I'm like, oh gosh,
Yeah.
it's only the beginning
Yeah.
for me over here with
Yeah,
that.
there's only so long that you can hold off on that before
They get a
they're, like,
glimpse.
they're wanting to smash each other into tables and
I know. Well, that's the thing. I have twins. They're just gonna just take
Yeah.
those moves out on each other. It's bad enough the karate moves, It's like, oof. We don't need to add that one in there. Well, thank you
Well,
guys.
now
for
I
both
know why
coming
you want to
out.
be in the WWE.
yeah, I just want to impress my son. I want him to,
Yeah.
oh, my dad's in the WWE.
I love it.
That makes total sense, though. Yes, thanks for calling that back.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny because I said to him, like I said, this weekend we were watching it and like one of the like the big guy, the champion, his name is Roman Reigns. He's like this huge 6'6", 300-pound, like muscular guy. Right. So I said to him, I said, who do you think would win in a fight, me or Roman Reigns? He's like, Dad, my son's 7. He's like, Dad, Roman Reigns would beat you. He's like, relax.
Yeah, they're not into, shielding our feelings.
Yeah. No, he's calls it like it is.
Hmm. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys for coming out. I swear this is awesome. I've been wanting to do this for a while. So to get you guys on board, I literally hit up Dom. I was like, I asked you to be on the podcast, right? Because I feel like I did, but I'm like, I don't think I did. I think I asked Lesley and then I never followed up with you. So I'm glad we finally got it. I had booked her a long time ago to be the co-host on this. And I'm like, I never finished the whole booking process. So thank you. And
thanks, Tiff. This was fun.
It was fun.
Appreciate it. Well, have a great night, guys. I hope you really enjoyed getting to know Dom. I've been dying to have him on my show. Actually, since my Behind the Maker podcast days, he was on the top of my list and I just hadn't made it happen yet. So I am so glad that I was able to do so, and to be able to have Lesley on as the co-host was just a dream. So thank you, Dom, for coming out. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Don't forget to subscribe to the show. And if you want to help support it, patreon.com/makerconversations. Have a great day.